Chaos and long queues at airports across the country. A breakdown in the electronic border control system leaves holidaymakers stuck waiting to get their passports checked.
We were just met with hundreds and hundreds of people just gridlocked and not moving.
Also tonight, Schofield's lies. ITV says it investigated his behaviour 3 years ago, but he denied everything. Coventry City and Luton Town battle it out for a place in the Premier League and...
Congratulations. Thank you very much, love.
The man with the pram and the million he's raised for charity.
This is ITV News with Geraint, Vincent.
Good evening. They are supposed to make the painful process of getting through an airport easier and quicker, but e-gates have been the source of enormous frustration this bank holiday weekend. There have been queues hours long to get through the electronic border control systems at Heathrow, Gatwick and Manchester airports. The technology allows passengers to scan their own passports, but it hasn't been working since last night and they're still trying to fix it. Callum Watkinson reports.
This was Gatwick Airport last night, as arriving passengers hoping to breeze through automated e-passport gates were met instead with rows of red lights. Though for those at the back of the queue, the cause of the delay wasn't obvious at first.
We were just met with hundreds and hundreds of people just gridlocked and not moving. We were all a bit confused coming off our flight as to what the problem was. So there was no communication, there was no understanding of what the actual problem was. It was just a group of people just not moving. I wouldn't say there was panic, but it was definitely a lot of anger and confusion as to why no one was moving anywhere.
And there were similar scenes at Luton Airport.
It was a frustrating 2 hours or so, drudging forwards, packed in together with loads of other people in the same sort of state.
The gates have been in use since 2008. Citizens of the UK, EU and European Economic Area and 7 other countries can use them to clear passport control. In a statement, the Home Office said, "We are aware of a nationwide border system issue affecting arrivals into the UK. We are working to resolve the issue as soon as possible and are liaising with port operators and airlines to minimise disruption for travellers." There were long queues at Dover too, also due to border control system failures, though port authorities say these have now been resolved. Meanwhile, at the airports, where the e-passport system failure is affecting inbound passengers, the challenge is to fix it before the end of the long weekend. Callum Watkinson, ITV News.
The body of a boy has been recovered from the River Eden in Carlisle, a day after 4 teenagers got into difficulty in the river and a 15-year-old went missing. Tim Backshall has been to the scene and sent this report.
It was shortly after 6:30 last night that members of the public reported seeing 4 teenage boys in difficulty in the River Eden. The emergency services were called and one of the boys, a 14-year-old, was taken to hospital in Newcastle in a critical condition. Another, a 15-year-old, couldn't be found, and that sparked a huge search last night and again this morning. It involved many local agencies, including Cumbria Fire and Rescue Service, the police and divers from Northumbria Police. Then this afternoon came the news that everyone here had been dreading. A body was found shortly after 1:30. The family of the missing teenager have been informed. Cumbria Police has issued a statement saying, "This is a tragic incident and our thoughts are with the family of the 15-year-old boy at this difficult time." The 14-year-old who was taken to hospital in Newcastle is still in a critical condition. The other 2 are safe. One of them managed to get out of the water by himself. The other had to be helped by members of the public. Sadly, this isn't the first death on this river. 2 years ago, a 16-year-old drowned not far from here. And this incident today is another reminder of the dangers of going into open water.
Tim Backshall there. ITV has confirmed it became aware of rumours of a relationship between Philip Schofield and a member of staff on This Morning. 3 years ago, the broadcaster says it investigated, but both parties repeatedly denied it. Mr. Schofield has now quit the network completely. Martha Fairley reports.
See you on Monday. Bye. Bye.
This sign-off just over a week ago was to be Philip Schofield's final appearance on ITV's This Morning, but also, ultimately, the end of a decades-long relationship with the channel, after he yesterday admitted lying about an affair with a much younger and more junior ex-colleague. Today, Dermot O'Leary, one of This Morning's regular hosts, declined to comment on accusations made by some that ITV management had been aware of what was going on.
I don't think it's appropriate, especially without any knowledge. I don't think it's appropriate for me to comment on a story I don't know, so that's okay. All right? Thank you, guys. Have a good day.
In a statement, ITV confirmed that in 2020 they'd investigated rumours of a relationship. A spokesperson said both parties were questioned and both categorically and repeatedly denied the rumours, as did Philip's then agency YMU. In addition, ITV spoke to a number of people who worked on This Morning and were not provided with and did not find any evidence of a relationship beyond hearsay and rumour.
I was getting to the point where I knew I wasn't honest with myself. I was getting to the point where I didn't like myself very much because I wasn't being honest with myself.
In early 2020, Schofield was on the This Morning sofa, coming out as gay, but he's admitted he hadn't been honest with everyone else, hiding what he described as a consensual on-off relationship with a younger male colleague.
The challenge here around trust. ITV needs to work back to its audiences and show in a really candid way that it can connect with them. This Morning itself, this is a big challenge for the reputation.
And after Schofield's resignation, ITV also needs to find a new host for the British Soap Awards next Saturday. Martha Fairley, ITV News.
A row has erupted between the Scottish Government and Westminster over a plan to increase recycling and reduce litter. Both governments want to introduce a deposit return scheme for bottles, a small extra charge that's returned when they're recycled. But there's an important difference between the plans. Our political correspondent Tom Sheldrick is here. Tom, what is it?
So you may well have seen these deposit return schemes being used abroad. There are plans to introduce them across the UK within the next couple of years, but it looks like Scotland will go first. The plan there is that from next March, customers will be charged an extra 20 pence when buying a drink in a can or bottle, and then get that deposit back when they return the container. The Scottish Government wants it to include plastic, metal and glass containers, but now the UK Government have given them permission only to go ahead without including glass. And that drew an angry response today from Scotland's First Minister.
It's a democratic outrage. Our Parliament passed regulations that included glass for the deposit return scheme. Not only is it bad in terms of devolution and self-government, it's really poor for the environment. If we don't include glass, that's 600 million bottles that won't be removed from our streets, our beaches and our parks.
Well, the UK Government argue that including glass in the scheme would make it more complicated and costly both for businesses and customers. They plan to introduce a deposit return scheme in England and Northern Ireland from 2025, not including glass. And they don't think there should be divergence between different parts of the UK, which they say could impact trade across the borders. Finally, when it comes to Wales, the question of glass there, it seems, is still to be resolved.
OK, Tom, many thanks. In other news, the Post Office has apologised after it emerged it tried to categorise sub-postmasters by race during a botched fraud investigation. Racial slurs were also used during the Horizon IT scandal. Hundreds of workers were wrongly accused of theft and false accounting. A man who was arrested after a car crashed into the gates of Downing Street has been charged with making indecent images of children. The 43-year-old remains under investigation for the crash on Thursday. And a teenage social media prankster has been charged with breaking a criminal behaviour order the day after it was issued. 18-year-old Bakari Bronzo Garrow, known as Mizzy, had been banned from posting videos without the consent of everyone involved. Fans of Coventry City and Luton Town are in nail-biting mode this evening as the two championship sides battle for a promotion to the Premier League. A win in today's playoff final at Wembley will be worth well over £100 million. Chris Scudder has the latest.
Always sing together, we will never lose. Come on, Lou!
Hats off to two clubs on remarkable journeys. Few could have predicted, on relative shoestring budgets, either would be playing off for a place in the world's richest league.
It really is rags to riches and redemption for whoever wins this. Both of these clubs have been in the big time before, but 5 years ago they were both languishing in the 4th tier of English football.
In the money-laden Premier. And these two teams have come through difficulty, and isn't that a wonderful story?
We've come up from nothing really, no ground to play on, no money, useless owners.
It's amazing to come up from where we started with our little ground, just coming up.
And so too the world's richest game. Luton thought they'd scored a priceless early goal, only for the linesman's flag to rule it out.
But the flag is up.
Then a worrying sign. Luton defender Tom Lockyer on the right here appeared to collapse and was taken from the field on a stretcher. When the match resumed, Luton made the breakthrough. Jordan Clark with potentially one of the most important goals in the club's history. Could it be the one that takes them to the promised land of the Premier League? Chris Scudder, ITV News, Wembley.
And they're into the second half at Wembley, and the score there remains 1-0 to Luton. Elsewhere, in a tight final day of the Women's Super League, Chelsea emerged as champions after a 3-0 win over Reading.
And that's it. It's all over.
It is the club's 4th consecutive title. They finished 2 points clear of Manchester United, whose victory over Liverpool wasn't enough to seal their first ever league triumph. Finally this evening, the 83-year-old charity fundraiser who has single-handedly raised more than £1 million for cancer research by pushing a pram around Sheffield city centre. John Birkhill has been collecting people's loose change for 26 years. Kelly Foran has been to meet him and learn about the love for lost family that inspires him.
Congratulations, mate.
He really is the man of the moment here in Sheffield. Step by step, John, or as he's known here, the man with the pram, has spent decades collecting pennies. One man, one pram, £1 million.
Have you got that? Yeah.
It's made him something of a local star. John's wife, June, died from cancer in 1992, a year after their daughter died. Since then, he's taken part in thousands of charity runs and walks for Macmillan.
What kind of woman was she?
She was a great dancer. I wasn't, and I know she's waiting up there when I do get up there. Nice to see you.
Nice to see you.
Nice to see you.
You can't seem to go more than a few steps without being stopped,
No,
John.
that's what it's about, you know what I mean?
Proud of him, really proud of him.
Absolutely fantastic. The fact that he's still going and still doing it, how tremendous is that?
He deserves a knighthood, this man does. He must have walked around well at least twice, I'm sure.
The pram was his daughter's in the early 60s.
On the front of the pram is a teddy bear there, and that is over 80 years old. That is one of my late wife's teddy bears. And when I'm pushing this pram, I feel that both my wife and my daughter are with me all the time. I know that sounds a bit daft like,
Oh, it
but
does not. It does not.
I talk to him all the time.
Well done.
You take care. Thank you very much, love.
So what next?
Are you going to go home for a rest after this then?
No, I'm going to carry on no matter what.
On to the next million, it is then. Kelly Foran, ITV News, Sheffield.
And that is all for now. I'm back at 10 with all the latest, including a full report on that Championship final playoff match that would mean so much to Luton or Coventry. Till then, enjoy your evening. Bye-bye.
Today we'll see warmer temperatures moving in from the east, especially around tea time. Heinz no added sugar beans sponsors ITV National Weather.
A very good evening to you. It's been a bank holiday miracle with sunny skies to start the long weekend. A similar theme into tomorrow. Feeling warm in that afternoon sunshine, but much cooler with the breeze around the coast and where we've got a little more cloud. Late and low sunshine before dusk this evening, and temperatures soon slide away. A very cool evening ahead and a chilly night to come in places as temperatures slide under those clearer skies, particularly out in the countryside and in rural spots. Those temperatures stay up a little more further west, but further east, a touch of mist and murk into the new day. Otherwise, clear and crisp from the word go as we head into Sunday. Sunny skies for the vast majority, just a little more cloud developing across those eastern locations and stretching into those central and western spots. The thicker cloud producing the odd spot of drizzle. Otherwise, a fine day and in the sunshine, highs of 23 or 24 degrees. Much cooler further north and around the coast with the cloud.
Heinz no added sugar beans sponsors ITV National Weather.